When you need advice, come to Ben and Kelly. It's Group Therapy on 99.7 DJX.
All right, so Kelly, if someone were to hear group therapy for the first time, what are they hearing?
Well, this is kind of an issue you could use some advice on, but maybe you feel like you can't go to anybody that you actually know. So you come to us, the Circle of Trust.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for allowing us to call you on this. And go ahead and walk us through what you sent us.
Okay, so my husband referred to me as an attractive woman twice in 3 days, and usually he never really says anything about how I look. I get the occasional, like, oh, you look nice.
Wait. Hang on a second. He called you attractive, and this is why you're calling us.
I mean, yeah,
Okay.
he really needs to up his game. Like, seriously, I don't know. I told him calling a woman he's married to attractive isn't, like, really the best compliment.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like, it's used for people who aren't really ugly, but not really hot either, like, kind of like a middle ground. Like, oh, she's attractive.
Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just my take on the word. Like, he thinks it means someone is, like, well, attractive, I guess. I don't know if I'm reading too much into the word, but, like, who do you think's right on this? Like, when you deem someone attractive, what does that really mean? I just need to settle this.
Okay, so your issue is he's starting to call you attractive, and he hasn't before. I'm assuming he's used other words like, I don't know, hot or sexy or whatever when he's referring to you. Now he's calling you attractive, and that's what's worrying you.
I mean, I really don't even get that all that much. He, like, says I look nice when I go out, but I feel like my husband should be calling me, like, beautiful or gorgeous
Oh, gotcha.
or something nicer.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, you know what? I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and we've already got some people texting in at 502-571-9970. So if you got some time to just hang out, then, maybe we can let our listeners chime in and help you out.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the advice is a little on the harsh side. Well, to start off with, Morgan said, I think you're being way too sensitive. Would you rather him be like, you're smoking hot? I think yes. I think she's saying yes.
I think that's what it is.
That. Yeah. She said also, assuming attractive means not ugly but not hot seems like a you thing, not a him thing.
Yeah, I wonder.
Nydia is kind of like the same thing. She's like, oh, my word, your man is giving you a compliment. You should be happy.
Okay. All right.
But I get what she's saying. I feel like you want to hear from your husband, you look so pretty, or you're beautiful, or, things like, words like that, like she mentioned.
So attractive, when you're giving compliments, is attractive down on the list of ways to compliment a person?
I can see how she might feel that. Because I can tell you, in nearly 15 years of being married, he's never called me attractive.
So,
but he says, you look beautiful.
Right. So if he were to start calling you attractive,
I might be a little worried.
Would that be a little okay? All right.
I might.
All right.
Like, I kind of get her point.
Okay.
But I also see the point of some of the listeners who are saying, "Hey, just be happy he's complimenting you." It's kind of a fine line.
Well, Tracy kind of agrees with her and you to some extent, saying via text, 100% agree. He's married to her. He should be using words like gorgeous, stunning, beautiful, and not attractive. Saying someone is attractive is like saying they're a nice person. Okay. All right.
Okay. Yes. That I think is a really good analogy.
All right. Well, let's take your thoughts on this, because group therapy is about what you think. 502-571-9970. So at the root of it, it's attractiveness. And is being attractive just vanilla as far as compliments go? According to one of our listeners, it is, especially when she has her husband referring to her as an attractive woman twice in the span of 3 days.
Now, see, there's a lot of people chiming in on Facebook that are really kind of letting her have it. Like, why are you being so sensitive? He's giving you a compliment. But there are a lot of other people rolling in on text message that are kind of understanding where she's coming from. So first off, Kayla does kind of say, listen, we need a little bit more context. She says, I think, it depending on one of two instances. If this is a new thing for him that he has recently changed his word choices or diction, I get it. But if
Right.
it's something he's done for a while or has always done it, maybe it's just simply a difference in, your choice of compliments. Now, there's a lot of people chiming in. Kaylin says being called attractive is a bare minimum compliment, especially from a husband. There are so many other wonderful ways to compliment your wife or anyone for that matter. Tiffany, I think, perfectly summed it up and said, I feel like the word attractive is used to describe someone that you don't really know. Definitely not a word to describe someone you're married to.
Interesting. Yeah, Irka is like, I find you attractive. Seems like an unemotional thing you tell someone you're friends with but don't want to date. Definitely not something you should say to a life mate. Life mates should get something more emotional and more special, beautiful or lovely or gorgeous or sexy. They can look it up in a thesaurus. I don't know. So, I mean, I like on the surface, I kind of agree with everybody who's commenting on Facebook. Just like, I mean, he's calling you attractive. But then when you dig deeper, and this is what I was saying earlier, that words have meaning and everybody takes the meaning of words differently,
Yeah, and Randy's pointing out, like, to me, attractive seems very impersonal when it comes for your husband. It's a generalized compliment that's safe to say to somebody without being offensive.
Interesting.
And I think, she just wants her husband to show some emotion when complimenting her. It just kind of seems like a very, like she said, a vanilla kind of compliment. And you want something more from like the person you want to impress the most.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up here coming up next. But if you've got a comment, feel free, throw it in there at Ben and Kelly Show or 502-571-9970. Too much more on this group therapy here on 99.7 DJX. But it's really interesting because it's what seemed like overwhelmingly one way is now balancing out with people that are saying, well, no, it's a valid concern.
Yeah, I see her point.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, maybe at the very least, this is maybe kind of a message to men out there like, hey, here are some words that maybe your wife might prefer, your girlfriend might prefer to hear from you instead of you look attractive.
Yeah, text says attractive. Calling someone attractive is what you say to someone about your cousin.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
right.
I get it. And again, it just seems like an impersonal word because it is something that you can use to kind of describe someone you really don't know, not your wife.
Now, Facebook is overwhelmingly saying, hey, you know what? You're overthinking this. Just take
Get
the
over
compliment.
it.
Text message, however, is a little bit more like, hey, you know what? I agree with this woman. So now, what are you thinking?
I'm going to agree with the rest of your listeners who says she's overthinking it, that she needs to, quit being so sensitive and quit reading too much into it. Quit overthinking. Take the compliment.
Is there a word that if your spouse or your partner said to describe you, that you're like, I wonder why he used that word? Is there a word for you, or are you just like taking any compliment and you're like, you know what, thumbs up, we're good?
You know what? Maybe this defines the different generations. It's in the tone. If he would have said, "Oh, you're attractive," if there's a little bit of a delay or a pause in between the syllables or something, I mean, I don't mean to sound so nitpicky about it, but I'm a woman, and we women tend to overthink and read too much in it. And this is what frustrates my 19-year-old son, who doesn't know how to compliment without worrying about offending the girl.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I was a teenage boy too, and it's awkward. No, every way you slice it. So, well, hey, good luck to your son, and thank you so much for calling in.
Awesome. Have a good one. Thanks.
All right, no problem.
Okay, so maybe to put this in more practical terms, maybe we use moving forward, regardless of kind of how she feels about it, maybe, she can approach her husband with just like, hey, I, kind of really want to feel like you think I'm pretty or beautiful or gorgeous. I would even throw out nice in with attractive. Like, I don't want to hear I look nice or fine.
You look
like,
fine.
that's a fail on my look,
right.
in my opinion, if I get that reaction from my husband. I'm not going for nice. I'm not going for fine. I'm not going for attractive. I'm going for pretty, beautiful, gorgeous, stunning.
All right.
All of those will fit, my needs.
All right. This is good. This is good. I mean, this is good to know because
I feel like we can put them in categories. These are bad compliments that are really not going to make me feel great about myself. These are much better.
Okay, so maybe instead of getting on Facebook and saying she's crazy, accept the compliment, maybe let's be her thesaurus for her husband and say,
yes.
You know what? Maybe in the future, know that in your brain. When you want to call her attractive, use some of these words instead because,
exactly.
You guys are married. Obviously, you love each other. So let's try to make each other feel good. All right.
And you should be able to communicate your needs. Something as simple as this to your spouse.
There you go. All right. So if you want to jump in to the conversation, you can at Ben and Kelly Show. That is Group Therapy.